Hello, good morning, guys. So, today we're going to be talking about the hourly play-by-play, what's happening in our body while we're fasting. And so, just another disclaimer, I'm not a doctor. I have not studied in medical school. I am a passionate hobbyist who just thinks fasting is one of the most vital, most important, most impactful benefiting things we can do for ourselves in our entire capacity as a human, for our brain and for our spirit, even for our emotion. It really is just such a cleansing protocol. And it just really is one of the best things we can do to support ourselves. So for me, it's maybe I say, well, what else? So fasting for me and meditation. And then you can throw in exercise and you throw in diet and you throw in other things, love. Well, love is the end all be all, that the other things are getting us closer to the eternal love, loving light within ourselves. But having loving relationships in our lives and all these different things, having purpose and goals. So all that's important. But fasting, meditation, and then really, really close on that level, but for me, slightly lower is that exercise, keeping us really, really focused and healthy, smiling and being an active part of living. So anyway, fasting quotes for today. These are coming from research papers. So we have something from the New England Journal from 2019. And so cells respond to fasting by engaging in a coordinated adaptive stress response that leads to increased expression of antioxidant defenses, DNA repair, protein quality control, mitochondrial biogenesis, and autophagy. And so all of these benefits are happening when we're fasting, and they're only talking about an 18-6 intermittent fast, which is when you're fasting for 18 hours every day and eating for 6 hours. So the benefits compound on themselves when you do more than 18 hours. That's just the tip of the iceberg. You're just dipping your toes into the healing waters of fasting. So next we have fasting periods of 4 to 21 days were well tolerated and associated with improvements in metabolic parameters and well-being. It's therapeutic fasting in modern medicine. Um, and that was, I don't remember what year that one was, but there's links to it and you can check it out. So in the first 24 hours, we initially have 12 hours. It's really recommended to do a minimum of 12 hours. I listen to a lot of fasting clinics and doctors, nutritionists, and they all say minimum like just 12 hours every day of your life. Do that. It gives you the full liver detox cycle, and it uses up all of the glucose from the last meal, which allows your liver to be kind of clear and ready for the next day, just like sleeping long enough, 7, 8, 9 hours, cleans out your brain and gives it space for the next day. Um, I also read studies that suggested 13 hours might be even better. People who were shown to have like less of a fasting window between their last meal and the first meal daily of less than 13 hours. Although the shorter that time, the worse it is. Was shown to have like a double increased risk of cancer. So I keep my minimum to 13 and typically doing 14 to 16. And then when we're fasting for 16 to 24 hours, we're losing a lot of water and we're letting go of a lot of excess sodium. And so you'll see that on the scale just immediately. You'll lose like 5 pounds. Even like someone skinny like me who doesn't have a lot to lose, I'll lose a very quick like 5 pounds when I wake up the next day. Because not only are you losing the water weight, but you also have no food in your belly eventually. All that poop weight is gone, all the food weight is gone. And so you have a lot of water weight is gone. So you have your base like physical mass weight. And then using the glycogen stores from your liver. So when we don't have like glucose from the food in our bloodstream, we take or excess glucose becomes glycogen in the liver, and then we take that. The body takes that when in the spaces where we're not eating and uses it for energy. We have about 24 hours-ish of glycogen, depending on how we're eating and moving and all this stuff. So between 6 to 24 hours, we use up all of that glycogen. The autophagy starts to ramp up, and human growth hormones after 24 hours starts to increase substantially. And there are, depending on what your human growth hormone levels are, there have been seen as high as 1,200% in women and 3,000% growth in men. So 24 to 48 hours. Now we start maybe experiencing something called keto flu, which you can avoid when you have proper prep, which we talked about in other videos. When you prepare properly, the best way possible for these fasting for prolonged fasts. But the keto flu is like you start to feel like tired, you start to feel maybe a headache, you start to feel kind of flu-like symptoms. And that's when your body's figuring out like, okay, wait, what's happening? I don't have any more glucose. And how long do I need to wait before I start going into ketosis and start using the fats reserves to get my energy? And then it has to like, oh wait, so this is how I use glucose, but I have to do a different process to use ketones. And so that whole transitioning process can create a little bit of what they kind of label cutely as keto flu. In the 24 to 48 hours, we're also getting BDNF cells, which I don't know what it stands for. I can't remember. But those BDNF cells are amazing brain, something, normal function. I don't know, but brain something. And and you can just remember it as miracle growth for the brain. It helps repair synapses, build synapses. You get better neural connectivities. And it just brings a sense of clarity. A lot of people, when they're fasting, they say that they just think so much more clearly. Everything just makes more sense. Things are coming to them more easily. There's a lot less interference, a lot less, there's no more fog. Brain fog is gone. And part of that is because of the BDNF cells. And so we're getting those more clearer synapse connections, which synapses are what's connecting the neurons in our brains. Every neuron has thousands and thousands of these synapses. And just like it's been shown that the more synapses you have and the more efficient that they allow energy transfer, the like more intelligent the person is. One of the universities, like University of Penn or Princeton or UC Berkeley, analyzed Einstein's brain after he died, and and it was shown or seen that he had substantially more synapses, and they think that might be why he was such a brilliant genius. So then we have stem cell activation is happening mostly in the intestines actually right now. In the first 24 to 48 hours, autophagy is happening. And so when the autophagy is coming in and it's clearing out old cells and zombie cells and old dysfunctioning mitochondria and stuff, as it clears out old cells, it needs to bring in new cells. And those new cells are stem cells. So that's the stem cell activation, which is brilliant. You have fresh new blood. I heard one doctor just like liken it to the NBA draft. And so every year you have turnover. You have like people in their 30s kind of coming out and people in their 20s coming in. And so you got this new blood. And so it's more resilient, they're tougher, they're stronger. And they can handle a lot more. You're really starting to get rid of the visceral fat. The only reason you have visceral fat, which is like covering your heart and your organs, and it does nothing good for us. It just increases inflammation and causes problems. But since we were in such regular periods of states of needing to fast just because our environment wasn't providing the food for us every day, our bodies developed this need to have quick access fat for when we're fasting. And so that's the visceral fat. So we're starting to get rid of that visceral fat. And at the 48 hour, mark, obviously these aren't pinpoint, and each person, depending on what's happening for them, will have these different stages. And if your body's used to fasting, if it's new to fasting, if you came in with already regulated insulin, or if you came in with poor insulin resistance, it all these things, change a little bit. So, but around 48 hours, we get this amazing thing, full dopamine reset, which is awesome. So we have all these cravings and all these things, and we're like, oh, we can't resist. But that's because when we're in our normal lives of maybe eating poorly, allowing all these inputs, start watching YouTubes and having all these dopamine hits, scrolling, all these things, we start wearing down our receptors in our brain. And and so then we need more and more and more to get that same kind of satisfaction feeling. So when we're fasting, then we're kind of resetting that dopamine, the dopamine receptors, they're being replaced and kind of filtered and reset. And so now smaller amounts of flavor will feel good where they didn't before. There's lots of stories of people after a longer fast of like 5 to 10 days, they start eating fresh vegetables and fruit, and they're like, whoa, why are these so flavorful? And they always have been. It's just that we're used to people like, man, when you're eating Doritos and things, they just flavor punch it with nonsense, like poisons and amplifiers and everything. And then your dopamine receptors become worn down and overloaded. And then these things that have less, pow pow powders added to them, you just like can't access the pow that is naturally there. So the cravings will start to reset. I lost my craving for coffee in my most recent 5 day fast. That was unexpected. The first 3 days, I actually drank coffee, especially the first day. I was like kind of poor in my self-control, and I was eating a lot of junk food. I was eating ice cream and cookies and crackers and salty things and kind of letting myself indulge because I was in Mexico and I knew I was going to fast and I was like wanting to try things and I said, screw it. I'm just going to try things and I'm going to go into my fast. And I did like a one meal a day. I did like a 1 day transition prep of just like eating one meal and keeping it clean. But that wasn't enough. It was a very tough fast because I did not go into it well prepared. Um, but I was really craving coffee, and I was just like indulging that craving a little bit on my first day to make it easier. I drank 3 cups of coffee, which I actually never do on a regular day. And then on the second day, I drank coffee again, saying maybe the third day I won't. But the third day, I really did one more. I did okay. And then on the fourth day, didn't want it. On the fifth day, my friend had coffee. I smelled it, and my body just reacted like, ugh. And I was like, oh, interesting. And then after I started refeeding, I'm still like 5 days after, like right now, I'm on the fifth day of refeeding, and I don't have any craving for coffee. That that dopamine receptor has been reset. Also, after 48 hours, the digestive system it kind of shuts down. It stops creating those like digestive liquids that it's usually doing to prepare for food. So after 72 hours, we start to reach peak autophagy. I don't really know what that means by peak, but when listening to a doctor of a fasting clinic speak, this is the terminology he used. And between 72 to 96 hours, we start to reach that peak autophagy where it's just in like full process mode. It's starting to go everywhere in the body, not just more localized in the stomach and gut system. After 72 hours, we have a brand new intestinal lining. It's kind of like every 3 days, like our cells in our intestinal tract and our especially in the intestinal membrane is is like it's being refreshed all the time. It's very quickly turning over and getting new cells and dying cells. And so after 72 hours, you have brand new intestinal lining. And this is a like 72-hour fasts are amazing for helping with gut health stuff. We also get a surge of stem cells in the body for our organs and our muscles. The stem cells before are more for the gut. And now, after 72 hours, we have more stem cells throughout the whole body. And now it's like really much like we're really focusing on organs and muscle tissues. The immune system after 70 hours also has a complete reset, which is phenomenal for autoimmune diseases and just for your general well-being. And then at about 100 hours, the stem cells are now accessing cartilage and joints. So you start to really improve joint health. Unfortunately, these are the deeper rooted issues in our body, and they are harder to access. Um, and it's kind of like you do the low-hanging fruit first. The body's doing the easy thing, the easy thing, the easy thing, next easy thing. And so the cartilage and joints are the harder things, um, the higher fruit on the tree. So it takes longer to get to. So if you're looking to help your joints, yeah, you're going to want to do 100 hours. You're going to want to do 4 to 5 days or even a 7-day fast. And then also by 100 hours, we're really, really seeing an improved liver, and we're really starting to get to that amazing brain health. So that's what's happening in a 100-hour fast. Thank you. Let's fast.